might seem crazy what I'm about to say.
Hey class, welcome to our second interview that we have, and I want to introduce to you a good friend of mine. This is Brandon Ponchak. Believe it or not, this is probably the first time Brandon and I have actually kind of talked, probably since he was in maybe college. I coached Brandon when he was at Morgan High School as a soccer player. He was our goalkeeper, a mighty good one at that as well. He took me down several times in practice, and I have not forgotten that, Brandon, the wipeouts that you caused me. But hey, it was a lot of fun. But Brandon's here to kind of share a little bit about his career. And so I'm going to turn it over to Brandon. Brandon, why don't you tell the class a little bit about what you do?
Yeah. So I'm a general manager and assistant coach with a pre-professional soccer team. We play in the USL League Two. We're called the Cincinnati Dutch Lions. And our goal essentially is to try to get players to go professional. Wherever they can go, however they can get there, we want to be one of their stopping points. This will be my fourth season here in Cincinnati with them. And in the club's 6-7 year career, we've had 20 players sign pro, and of those 20, 13 of them have been in my time here.
Very cool. So Brandon, talk a little bit about your path a little bit, as far as like education training requirements. Tell them a little bit about how you got from Morgan High School to where you are right now.
My original career goal was absolutely nothing in what I'm doing right now. My goal in high school, all through high school, was to be a chiropractor. That changed in my first year in college. I realized I didn't want to go to school that long, and I like science, but I didn't like it that much. So I ended up changing career paths. I wanted to play college soccer. I found a place in Asbury University in Wilmore, Kentucky. I played there. As my career was winding down there, I got my first kind of taste in coaching, and I worked with a USL pro team, to the Charlotte Eagles, and that's when I started saying, "Hey, I want to work in soccer for the rest of my life." So everything from then on, so it was probably 2006. From then on, it was a focus in soccer. My next path was to go to college coaching. I was a college coach for 8 years in 3 different states. So I knew I needed to grow my resume, and I needed to grow what I knew, my knowledge, and that still hasn't stopped yet. So I went and got a master's degree. I got 2 actually, but one of them a master's in business administration. That helps me right now with what I'm doing. I run a team, and every aspect I run it, from ticket sales to marketing to contact with agents, contact with federations across the world, contact with professional teams across the world, and also just regular contact with players and college coaches here domestically.
Cool. So Brandon, what is, I talk a lot of times to my students about specific characteristics, skills, or traits. Each job kind of has a different need. What has been maybe the skill, characteristic, or trait in your line of work that you have found to be most important for you to have success?
We have to be flexible, and be with that willing to work with people. There's not a day that's the same thing. It's not a monotonous job at all. Like one day I could be working on ticket sales. The next day it could be a social media blast. The next day it could be player registration and or scheduling, or even tomorrow I got a conference call with our league to figure out, in this state of emergency, what is our season going to look like come May, which we don't know yet. So being flexible with that is just so important, because you're going to have to be a go-getter with that. Like, you got to basically make your way. You got to plow your way through, and figuring out how to be creative, figuring out how to market yourself as a club. Basically what I want to do is I want to make this the best place for a pre-professional player to play at, and want to make it fun for fans as well. So how can we do that? and it's always going to be changing. Can we be ahead of the game in some aspects? What are others doing that might be better than what we're doing? Anything that makes the game and the experience better for players. So the flexibility is vital.
Cool. So, what's your favorite part about what you get to do every day?
Soccer. I mean, being around the game so much, that's my hobby, and that's really my life. I watch soccer all the time. I talk soccer all the time. It's all about studying, and how can I make myself better for the game and in the game, and how can I make others better as well. So being around that and being around other soccer players and coaches, I couldn't imagine doing anything else.
I can't imagine you doing anything else either. So last question I have for you. I tell my students all the time in class when I'm talking to them, and I sometimes use the example. I say, if I could go back and talk to 18-year-old Scott, and I could give him one piece of advice or one thing that I could say that would kind of make that journey maybe not less difficult, but just some wisdom that I could impart, what would you go back to 18-year-old Brandon, who I remembered had no hair at all, had his head shaved for soccer season? What would you tell him, Brandon?
If knowing what I know now, I wish I'd have got started coaching and professional development earlier. And that includes just getting experience working wherever I can. I know Morgan is not necessarily the most accessible place when it comes to higher level soccer, but can I reach out and get involved with local universities and however I can, or start coaching earlier, be with more players, be with more coaches. I graduated high school in 2003. I didn't start my coaching career until 2006. There's 3 years there that I could have done more, and I wish I'd have done more. And I tell my players to this day, like, start coaching now. I mean, if you see yourself coaching in 3 years, start doing things now. If you want to work for a team in 3 years, start doing things now. Because that experience, good or bad experience, is going to benefit your career in the long run.
Cool. Well, hey guys, Brandon, thank you for joining us today. Really appreciate it. To my students out there, make sure that you guys comment below so that I know I can give you credit for watching this video. Also, make sure you check your school email for the Google form. I'll have some questions that I'll need you to do some research. If you have any questions for me or for Brandon, email me and I will get in contact with Brandon. I'm sure he would be more than willing to correspond with you guys about more questions about what he does. Again, Brandon, awesome. Thank you for spending some time. Guys, wash your hands. I'm saying this every video. Wash your hands. Hand sanitizer. There you go. I don't know what side of the video this is going to show up on. Hand sanitize. Social distance yourself, okay? Limit the spread of the coronavirus. I don't know if you're going to be watching this in the classroom or at home on your iPads, but either way, make sure that you guys are social distancing. Miss you guys. Take care. And we will catch you at the next video.
Clap along if you feel like that's what